The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericavariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to the Sharon Kleyne Hour, Health, Environment, and the Power of Water. What you hear in the next hour could very well save your life. Now, here's your host, Sharon Kleyne.
I want to invite you to listen to the Sharon Kleyne Hour, Power of Water, Water Life Science. Water Life Science is going to be in your everyday life and the not too far future, to be able for you to have an application every day to include for your health, for everyone worldwide, a new lifestyle. And that new lifestyle is you will get up every morning, you're going to think about the water vapor that you're living in. And that water vapor is your humidity, your atmosphere that keeps you alive from the moment you're born, keeps all of Earth alive. You will take a breath of that and breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth like a filtering system because you were sleeping all night. So you breathe in through the nose, through the mouth, and exhale that and filter the body after sleeping. You're going to learn how important it is that the earth has its nourishment with water. The rain comes down. And many people don't know that for billions of years, that water vapor was around the planet Earth with a fine mist of evaporation, of moisture water loss, before it got heavier with evaporation and had a big droplet drop called rain. That rain came down, and that's where we're at today. Without that rain coming out of that droplet of the water vapor, there'd be no earth. There'd be no life. You're made up of that water vapor. You're made up of water. Each of your organs has a certain percentage of water to live with. And you must learn that you have to drink. As soon as you get out of bed, you're going to take your breath of life, of exercise. Then you're going to also go get a glass of water and drink the whole thing all at once, room temperature or hot. Then you're going to think about your daily activity with your nutrition habits. To slow down that evaporation, you must learn to breathe properly, drink enough water, and then your nutrition cannot over-evaporate you to water loss. If you over-evaporate, you will have diseases to death. Moderate exercise is very important. And then you learn how to sleep is very important. Like, look at the earth. And people out there that are so environmental are so fascinating to me, is they don't realize that when you're walking and living with the planet Earth, notice its reaction to what I just said. How to breathe? It has to breathe with the rest of the solar system. But it has to have that water vapor in the air to breathe. And it cannot be contaminated, or it causes more evaporation. It has to have the rain. But look what they're doing to the water, what's happened with the water crisis worldwide. We are in a world water crisis. I am very disappointed and very disturbed and very upset that all these people that had these positions would not take serious our world water that is so important for our lives to be productive and to be healthy, and the water vapor of the air, because the water on the planet, the fresh water, assists the water vapor so the water vapor doesn't over-evaporate to cause less humidity, atmosphere in the air for us to breathe and for your body to breathe and for all life to live. That's how serious this is. And that's this show. We've been bringing on guests for 10 years, and they're doing their evaluations and research and discoveries, scientists and physicians and authors of books that have studied upside and down the other, all these things I've been talking to you about for 10 years. But today we have a Dr. Paul Blake. He's a naturopath, and he had cancer many years ago, and he decided to cure it, his direction, and he did it. And he's going to teach us a lot today. Dr. Blake is in Thailand, so we're going to go to him here in a minute. We'll have our sponsor real quickly. Nature's Tears Eye Mist is the only supplement of the trade secret water of tissue culture grade of water worldwide, owns patents all over the world in dry eye, and what causes your eyes to vision impairment? The dryness. The surface of your eye is 99% water. It's not an eye drop. It's not saline solution. Both of those product compounds cause an irritation to a dehydration, over-evaporation of the eye. You need to supplement every day the eyes. Whether you think you are feeling dry or not, learn to supplement the eyes automatically every day as you do other things to take better care of your health. We'll listen to our sponsor, Nature's Tears Eye Mist, and we'll be back with Dr. Blake.
Stimulating talk
gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
all the time. The #1 internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com.
Discover the secret of Nature's Tears Eye Mist, an entirely different approach to eye care without eye drops. When your tear film is dry, your eyes feel dry. Nature's Tears Eye Mist naturally supplements the tear film with Biologic Aqua Absolute Premium Standard Grade of pure, all-natural water. Nature's Tears Eye Mist, just a mist. All natural, safe, convenient, no preservatives. Nature's Tears Eye Mist can be purchased nationwide at selected eye care professionals and drugstores near you.
News, opinion, passion.
Can you hear me?
Your voice counts. Call toll-free 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. VoiceAmerica.com. You're listening to the Sharon Kleyne Hour, Health, Environment, and the Power of Water. If you have a question or comment, please direct your email to SharonKleyneHour@yahoo.com. That's SharonKleyneHour@yahoo.com. Now, back to the program.
Dr. Blake, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Sharon.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I guess it's 12 midnight in Thailand right now, and I wanted the audience to know you're in Thailand. And it's 12 midnight.
That's it. We're about 14 hours ahead of you there.
Right, and an hour behind China and that part of the world.
Yes.
Now tell us about living in Thailand. I could read your bio, but tell us about yourself and in Thailand.
Okay. I moved here about 8 years ago. I had actually consulted with a lady in a little town called Phetchabun, and it was about her son. He was having, they wanted to operate on his eyes because he had one eye that was wandering. And I knew a little trick, and I told her about the trick. You tie a ball or even a piece of paper to a string, hang it, and then you put a little Band-Aid or something over the good eye, and then you tell the boy, I'm going to give you a prize every time you hit that ball. And so he starts swinging at the ball, and his eye will gradually get stronger and stronger until it equals the good eye, and then they'll match up. And but then he wanted to email back and forth with me, and that went on for a while, didn't work out. And then I talked to a friend of hers, and a friend and I got along very well, and we became pen pals and talked a few times on the phone. And then one day I came out here and met her, and not long after that we got married.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Now, you became a naturopath many years ago when you had cancer yourself, and you decided you were going to study and work at trying to cure your cancer. Tell the audience about that.
I was in my 40s, just getting into my mid-40s, and I noticed a lot of physical problems. I was a little bit into health, but not very deeply. And backaches and joint problems, arthritis in my lower spine, in my knees. I was doing plastering work, which is very physically demanding, and you're in water a lot. And then I also started losing energy. It was like I had to force myself to move, to do things. And I thought, this is not right. There's something wrong here. Something's going on that doesn't fit. Because I just earned a black belt the year before in karate. And I always was into fitness. So I went to a acupuncturist. And she looked me over, and she suggested some herbs and some treatments, and it helped a little bit. It really didn't help me turn the corner on the energy. It was just gone. And I think today it would be chronic fatigue, which is what I had. And so not long after that, I started gradually getting symptoms of a urinary tract problem. And I thought maybe it was an infection, and so I was taking vitamin C and other things to help with that. But it didn't get better, it got worse. It just gradually got worse and worse, and so did the back problem, right along with it. And I finally went to, just before that, I was talking to my parents about it, and my mother said, did you know that your grandfather on your father's side died of prostate cancer? I said, I didn't know that. I knew he died of cancer, but I didn't know it was prostate. And I went, uh-oh. So I made an appointment at Newport Beach Cancer Center on Coast Highway and went down there for a test. And they said, yes, there's something there. And they wanted me to come back for treatments and that. And I just said, at the time, and the construction work had slowed down. I didn't have insurance. So I thought, I'll give natural healing some tries and take a real good look at it. And I looked at Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, and I was studying all kinds of books. I started getting things in the mail, and I got one from a naturopathic doctor that really hit a home run for me. He described everything that was going on and where it came from. And I used his protocol, and it took a lot of work. It was like, it's almost 24. It's like I took on a second job. Lots of cleansing, lots of detoxing. Yes.
Yeah, it is. People have to study, and it is. It's a lamp oil job because you've got to study. But people don't realize, doctor, you're not only going to be studying, thinking, and new ideas of the things you were describing that you needed to learn to do, but you have to study yourself. You have to learn to get to know how you tick so that you'll be able to work with the new thinking of how you're going to be able to challenge the symptoms and try to remove them slowly and surely, one at a time. Do you agree with me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree 100%. There's a bit of communication going on, and if you're listening to it, it's from your body. It has some things
called
to
rhythm.
say to you, and
Right.
it's been...
Right. That's a rhythm in the body, and it's a communication living with our lives in the earth that we're living with. Okay, now I wanted to ask you, you did cure your cancer, and now did you go to, you obviously went to a Western medicine doctor to get your diagnosis that you had cancer?
Actually, I never went back.
But you did go. You did go to get the diagnosis.
Yes, originally I went to the Newport Medical Center for, it wasn't a full diagnosis, no. They didn't take any biopsy or anything like that. They just told me there is something there, and we need to get a closer look at it, and I just never went back. Because what I found with natural just drew me right into it, and almost immediately I was getting relief.
Now that's before before you went to the medical school to become a naturopath.
I actually started fairly quickly while I was doing the cleansing and detoxing. I was getting into my interest started being drawn to some naturopathic doctors like Dr. Bernard Jensen, John Ray Christopher. I started reading their books. I studied iridology deeply, and I started also went into live blood. I didn't start. I took up. I started studying with the College of Natural Healing in Warsaw, Indiana, Trinity College of Natural Healing is where I started. And I studied, I got my diploma from them in 2004. But I was practicing fairly...
How long did it take you to get yourself in remission that you believed was remission and the cancer?
That happened, I was 3 months into juice fasting and doing a lot of techniques. It was very intense. And I was getting results hand over fist. And I was so busy with work and with the working on myself that I didn't realize that all my symptoms had just stopped. It was like I was walking across the living room.
Dr. Blake, what did you do before you became a doctor of natural medicine?
Oh, I was many things. Let's see, I was in the Navy. I worked for the telephone company. Never really satisfied with I would get into a job or career and then not happy. Policeman in Los Angeles. I worked with my father in construction contracting. And, it was the fact that you found that you could put yourself in remission with the cancer that you became, you decided that you wanted to become a doctor of natural medicine. That happened, so suddenly the symptoms stopped. And I geared down the protocol a bit, and I had some cavity problems, some fillings that need to be taken care of. I went to a Dr. Murchef in Huntington Beach, and he took a look, and he said, amazing. He said, you have problems here, and he says they're old root canals. He said, but when I took the metal out, he said, the nerves, they weren't fully root canals, he was going to do root canals on 3 different teeth, and they had fillings in them. When he took the fillings out, he found that the nerves inside the teeth had built a barrier. He said he'd seen one other patient in his career that had this happen to them. And I walked out of the office, and it was like I was elated. I was beside myself. And that was the moment I decided I was going to be a naturopathic doctor.
Okay. Now you're in Thailand, and your everyday practice in Thailand and in naturopathic medicine has been for how long?
Probably practicing. I actually started practicing almost immediately after the cancer was gone because I had been studying iridology and I was helping some people with problems that I could see through their eyes and giving them the same advice I was given. Mm-hmm. And I gradually kept increasing. So I started but real clinical practice, it's been about 20 years of real clinical practice in Lake Elsinore, California.
Okay.
Well, I was working with people daily in an office.
Right. Now, I noticed that you had some very fascinating valuations here on iridology. How did you come to the discovery of this iridology?
It was reading what Bernard Jensen wrote, a wonderful writer, and just like the first doctor, MD, that I went to, his name was Dr. Richard Schultz, by the way. It was like, rang a bell. Inside me, a bell rang when I would read his work. And I found it fascinating. And I found that I would always tell the client immediately, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know anything that's going on with you as far as disease. I'm going to tell you, and then let's see if we agree or not. And I would do that, and I used his books, and I studied, I took a course, what's his name? Naturopathic doctor, also chiropractor. And I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I'd taken a course with him, iridology. I'll think of it in a bit. Senior moment at 12 midnight. But I loved it. And I could not believe that how accurate it was. It was always right on the money. And one of the most impressive times when I used it was a man who he came with his mother and his aunt and his uncle and his father. And he was upset. He didn't even want to be there. I took a photograph of his eye.
Now, so the listeners, Dr. Blake can understand what you're describing to us right now. Yeah, this is the patient came to you for iridology.
Yes.
Okay, and you want to explain before you go any further what that description is to the audience? What is that? What is the education that we must have to understand what iridology is?
It's pretty simple. God doesn't put anything in the body, or no part of the body is without its value. And one of the most valuable things is your eyes. We know that, of course, eyesight. But when you're looking the other way at the eye itself, there are you have the pupil, and then outside the pupil you have that colored part of your eye. Those are nerve fibers, and there are hundreds of thousands of them. They're like cables. Excuse me. And when those different fibers go everywhere into your body and brain. And if something disturbs the fiber, either infection or even things like amputation or operations, genetic weaknesses will all show up in the iris. Those nerves move around, and they can get dark. Colors can show up. The pupil can get flat on one side if you've had an accident, possibly a neck accident, when you injure your neck or your head. Even the white part of your eye shows things that are going on in your body. It's just it's a perfect window. And one of the men Brzezinski was his name, who discovered this, was comparing what he saw in eyes with what he saw in the body of people who had died, passed
now,
on.
But we have to take one moment for our sponsor. Nature's Tears Eye Mist with just a mist. The surface of your eye is 99% water. Guess what happens when an eye drop touches it? Or you're having emotional problems or stress-related exhaustion to the eyes and fatigue and dry. That's called dry eye, over-evaporation of the eye. Nature's Tears Eye Mist is the only product worldwide to be able to supplement the surface of the eye with just a mist, endorsed by thousands of ophthalmologists, physicians, and universities throughout the United States, and owns patents all over the world by scientists awarding it the ability to be able to go out and study more. We're going to listen to our sponsor, and we'll be right back with Dr. Blake.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
Discover the secret of Nature's Tears Eye Mist, an entirely different approach to eye care without eye drops. When your tear film is dry, your eyes feel dry. Nature's Tears Eye Mist naturally supplements the tear film with Biologic Aqua Absolute Premium Standard Grade of pure, all-natural water. Nature's Tears Eye Mist, just a mist. All natural, safe, convenient, no preservatives. Nature's Tears Eye Mist can be purchased nationwide at selected eye care professionals and drugstores near you.
Stimulating talk.
It gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
All the time. The #1 Internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com. You're listening to the Sharon Kleyne Hour, Health, Environment, and the Power of Water. If you have a question or comment, please direct your email to SharonKleyneHour@yahoo.com. That's SharonKleyneHour@yahoo.com. Now, back to the program.
We have now Dr. Blake back again. We had a little problem in between the United States of America and Thailand. Doctor, thank you for coming back again. Now, tell us, you were telling us, did you know I have been studying the eye with the medical field throughout the world for many, many, many years, and what I do? My field is studying the dehydration of the body living with the water vapor, causing an over-evaporation to all life and of water loss. And the human eye organ is 99% water at the surface, connected to the brain and the womb at the same breath and moment. So I'm following you, but that's why I wanted to bring up the ideology of what doctor did you study under or work with on this evaluation? You told me the name, and can you spell that doctor's name for me?
Now, the doctor I studied under was Dr. Jack Richardson.
Richardson, Dr. Jack Richardson.
Richardson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Richardson?
I've written a number of books. RICHASON.
Okay.
Jackson. Interesting.
Okay. Okay, and then you had another doctor that you said you started out with.
Yeah.
What was the name of the doctor you said you...
That's Brzezinski.
How do you spell Brzezinski?
Right. Prezenski, I think is the spelling.
Brzezinski?
Brzezinski. If you look up...
now, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Blake. Dr. Blake, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but does that start with what letter? A P or a T?
Yes, P. P is in Paul.
P. Brzezinski.
Brzezinski.
Okay.
If you look up the history, If you look up the history of iridology, his would be one of the first
name will
names
come
mentioned.
up. Okay. Now the theory, I'm following the theory. I'm following the evaluation of this because we're learning more all the time that the human eye organ is definitely showing a lot of the symptoms and the body's reaction to living with the water in the atmosphere. And I'll tell you where I come from. As you know, the planet Earth was surrounded by water vapor for billions of years before, and it was evaporating to a mist living with the solar system. But all of a sudden, the water vapor of the atmosphere, of the air all around the planet Earth began to evaporate a heavier droplet of rain. So when rain started coming down, that's where we're at today. But we still live on the planet Earth with the greatest influence is the water vapor of the air we're all living with from birth. And the baby left the mother's sack of water and came to the water vapor, and the water vapor is living with the human all life, but the life of that life at the moment it began an evaporation of water loss because it's not living in a sack of water, but it is living with the water vapor. When the eyelid opens, Dr. Blake, that is when that 99% water and those nerve endings you're talking about in the eye, those fibers, I'm calling them nerve endings, nerve fibers, began to react like a battery, an electric charge to the vapor of the air, the water vapor. There are no two eyes alike, fingerprints, and more. All life on Earth relates and lives with that water vapor uniquely different. So when you're discussing what you learned and what you practiced with individuals, now when you were talking about that reaction to the eye following the exercise of the person who had a lazy eye, let's say. In the United States, there's it's not in the medical field, but it's out in the therapeutic. It's called rapid eye technology. Have you ever heard of it before?
I've heard of it as far as sleep goes, but not.
You could look it up. I've had it on my show, one of the founders of it, and it definitely should be in the medical practice. Of course, it's not yet. And what I do, I'm the first to be in the medical field with what I do with 100% water. And I'm the founder of Nature's Tears Eye Mist. It's an eye mist to supplement the eyes to slow down that evaporation. And many years ago, the medical field asked me if I would study the evaporation of the eyes to blindness, vision impairment to blindness. I did. And they asked me if I would put on the market a supplementation to the surface of the eye. So I follow you, and I understand after many years of study myself and the thousands of ophthalmologists and physicians and surgeons that work with me in the medical field, we're the first holistic medicine to be in the medical field the way we are. So I follow you. Now, on other practices you have, on what you've been learning, on what have you been learning about breathing? Because, Dr. Blake, I've learned that if people don't learn to do breathing exercises, that their health symptoms are not going to be improved the way they would think. That people have to every day learn how to breathe that water vapor of the air. Have you done any study on that or any practice?
Yes, I have a couple of points. One, interesting that I had an ophthalmologist talking about the eye and how it deteriorates. He said, and this goes right with water, plumbing problem. He says eye problems are plumbing problems. because things get plugged up.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the breathing goes, I do teach a yogic breathing practice. I encourage people to use whenever they have any disease, especially cancer, to get oxygen going into the system. And water and all liquids. I was told at least a gallon a day, and that's what I tell everybody. At least a gallon a day. When it's flowing out of your ears, that's about enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get there.
Well, no. They've been finding that throughout the world, and that magic number, if you're drinking a gallon of water a day, can begin to detoxify you, and you release more toxin through the skin every day than you flush the toilet. So people have to realize that when you have a symptom, you have to increase the water, but you can't add any ingredients to it because that would block the absorption. People have to learn to drink the glass of water all at once. Don't just sip it.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly what I do. First day
that's
in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and then with nutrition now, what have you been teaching your patients in Thailand? What is the best diet to keep yourself cleansed and detoxified and have a better nutrition? What have you been teaching there in Thailand?
I encourage them, if they don't become vegetarian, at least 70% of their diet is produce, raw produce.
There we go.
And the other thing, in order to, people, you can't just throw them into the vegetarian, they're just not going to go.
Mm-hmm. Now in Thailand, what produces do they eat?
I'm sorry, I didn't get to that. In
Thailand, what kind of produce do they eat? What do you recommend?
Oh, it's wonderful. And many, like when it comes to potatoes, there's like a half a dozen different types, even a purple potato. Same with almost all the produce. Many different varieties, and they're wonderful.
And what about kale? Do you eat kale in Thailand?
I don't see kale here. Lots of different types of cabbage, spinach, beets. Their celery is totally different. It's long and slender. It's not like ours, big and fat celery, but it's delicious celery. Real strong. I do juicing today is my juicing and cleansing day. I do a cleansing detox to start the day off. I'm talking about week off. Because I'm 71, I figured once a week I got to juice fast. And
what type of tell us what you make for your juice, what do you put in your juice? And tell us exactly how you do it if you would.
I got a recipe of my own, but my wife takes care of the juice, and she knows that I like dark green leaf vegetables. I like lots of celery, carrots, at least one apple, because that's the only fruit there's a few fruits that will mix with vegetables. Apple is one. What else? That's about it. On my own, when I'm telling people to juice, I say carrots, celery, parsley, just some basic things, and then to put in those things that they like, or if they have a certain problem, I'll tell them, like watermelon rind, you've got a kidney problem, that kind of thing. But and I get, it's just a solid basic one with lots of carrot, celery, and those vegetables, and then go for it.
What do you think about, have you done very much evaluation on beets? Beets.
As far as studying them in detail, no. But as far as great experiences with them, oh yeah, they're wonderful, strong. Get ready. I had an unusual problem before I moved here to Thailand. I was doing live blood, and I would always check my own blood. And I was checking my blood, and suddenly it got bad. I'm going, what the heck is wrong? And this went on for a few days, so I started doing a cleanse and detox. And it didn't seem to be changing anything. And then one night I thought, I'll have some beets. So I had some beet greens and beets in that juicer, and I put in an anti-parasite cleansing tincture in there with it. Next morning I got up, I had a light full glass of water, straight down, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I got a 3-alarm emergency. I hope I can make it to the bathroom in time. And I did, and I, just like always, a flush, put the lid down. And as I'm putting the lid down, I look down in there, and there's this great big roundworm, at least a foot long. So I had flushed. Yeah, I had probably flushed a bunch of them, and this one did not go with the rest.
And this was after you moved to This is after you moved to Thailand.
This is before Thailand. This is USA.
This is before you went to Thailand.
Yeah, before. About happened about a year before. And it was a real surprise because I thought, I'm perfect. I don't have something like that. Because I do cleansing and stuff all the time. I figured out where it came from. I had some stress going on, and I was working on somebody's trailer, and it was a mess. Drug addict had lived in the thing with all his buddies, and I had to tear up carpet and all that stuff, and I think I breathed in some eggs while I was in that trailer pulling all that stuff out of it. And that's what that puppy did. I took it into my yoga class. I was teaching yoga then and Tai Chi. I took it into my classes, and it was show and tell day for parasites, how to deal with parasites.
Now tell me about.
Top of my list.
Do you still do Tai Chi?
Oh sure, yeah. I do some. I did breathing techniques, waiting for your callback. I do some bellows breath.
Now in
get my mind going.
In Tai Chi, I studied Tai Chi with grandmasters, and a person who's been Dr. Effie Chow, and another one out of Canada, and with Jack Ma in China, the Grand Masters of Tai Chi. And I wanted to know, then you understand why that breathing for thousands of years has been sadly not taught every day for everybody to learn. It should be taught people should be practicing that. Inhaling and detoxifying, pushing it through your mouth is like filtering your body out. And so when you breathe in, that the Tai Chi becomes a cleanser and a therapy of living with the water vapor of the air, Dr. Blake. I studied that for 4 years to what that's all about.
That's wonderful.
Why thousands of years ago they've learned that particular therapy is a life of living with the planet and being healthier, by far healthier, is Tai Chi and Qigong.
Yes, yes, that breathing is, I was doing bellows breath before we connected up. I do it with, and then I pinch both ears. I cross my arms, pinch both ears, hold my breath a bit, to balance the mind out. That's a nice effect.
Now, in Thailand, naturopaths. Now, in the United States, as you know, many years ago, a naturopath was not as accepted as an everyday practice the way that it is now. In fact, my main doctor is a naturopath. I go to a naturopath for all this time, and if I would have a symptom, they send me to a doctor of other specialties, and then those tests go back to my hub my hub, my nature path. But in Thailand, is nature's path very much accepted, and when you get people go to nature paths a lot too?
They're more open to it because the heritage is
because of the
close.
thousands of years of holistic medicine education. Yeah.
But Western medicine has pushed pretty strongly here. My brother-in-law had a stroke, hemorrhagic stroke, bad one. He couldn't move. He couldn't pee. He couldn't get up to do anything. And I made some suggestions and nobody would listen. So, okay, go ahead. And pretty soon after changing his diapers for a couple of weeks, I realized I needed to talk to him, see if I had something to help him out. And I suggested cayenne, B3, get him on vegetables, and lots of water, and all those things that help clear him out. Cayenne opens, should have had cayenne that day. But it opened him up enough where within a few days he was able to use the bedpan, and then within a week of taking the cayenne pills and the B3 and everything, he was starting to get up a little bit. And now he takes care of himself completely. So
now, what is the nature in Thailand? What are the symptoms that you're treating commonly?
Actually, I don't treat any. Like I say, the Western medicine is in here real strong. You got the country is run by a king and queen. And they listen to the king, and so the king and the queen, and that's what they do. They go to Western medicine. So everybody does. So there are still naturopaths, and I see them.
What are a lot of the symptoms that people have in Thailand?
Most of the problems they're having are closely related to Western problems because all the same things are coming here that were in America. They're moving over to Western food, so they're just starting to see obesity show up, and they're starting to get into cancers and things like my brother-in-law having a stroke. So they're pretty much lockstep with the West, and it's too bad.
Because they've changed, Doctor. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Blake, but is that because they changed their diets now? They're not into as much vegetables and easy digestible food. They've changed the diet. You think that's why this?
A lot of it is you hit the nail on the head. I had my wife, when I first met her, she had a thyroid problem. It was obvious. You could see it in her throat. And I talked to her, she's on medication. Gradually, I don't like to push, she started changing her diet and gradually worked her off the medicine. She takes herbs for it instead. And the thyroid had turned into a goiter that was literally choking her some days. And that's gone. But she like her whole family, I talk to her every once in a while. I say, honey, you've got to eat some vegetables. Because she'll be sitting there eating fish, white rice, and pork, and that's it. Fish, white rice, and pork. You can't do it.
No.
So it's sad. I mean, it's very sad because we've got a tradition.
In Thailand, what is your water, the values of your water? What is happening there with water? Is it clean? Do you have a lot of water? Are they concerned about a water crisis in Thailand at all?
As far as amounts, everything's fine. As far as the amount, I'm concerned with herbicides and that. We get filtered water. We buy filtered water bottled, bring it to us, and I'm going to get a separate filter pretty soon to bring in the house because I just can't trust it. But the country leadership wants to go organic and avoid the GMOs, so that's good news. And
what are they doing about? what are they doing, Dr. Blake, in Thailand about the crisis of water?
It's the big problem has been too much clear cutting of lumber. And so a lot of their water, they reach saturation point in the mountains and it starts running south. And so they have problems with that kind of pollution where you're getting plastics and everything else are flowing downhill toward the south and ending up in the rivers and everything else. So, but the leadership speaks on Fridays, and the man who's the president of Thailand is making some moves on cleaning things up and turning this all around. And so right now, I'm very healthy. If I'm having a problem with water, I don't know it. I do a lot of, like I say, every Monday is cleansing and detoxing for me. And every day of the week, I'm always doing something.
Now, did you say you're having to buy water for your home?
Yes, we buy our water filtered from somebody we know who does the filtering himself. So we trust in what we're getting, and then we want to refilter as well. I'm thinking about that, double filtering it. Yeah, I wish we had there are a lot of things you can't get as easily as you can in the USA. The stores are full. I mean, they have a lot of wonderful products, but still you can't, the choice is not as strong.
Well, the world is definitely in a water crisis, and our politicians and leaders didn't get serious about it. Somebody's got to get serious about it, and that's what I've done. The Power of Water radio talk show worldwide is to get people involved and getting better educated about what the problems are. And we can't live without water. And the water vapor of the air we're breathing has to have fresh water on the surface of the planet to be able to be healthy. So between the surface water on the planet, the water vapor living with the surface water, and the surface water living with water vapor, our bodies have to live with that water vapor, and we have to drink water. So the symptoms of disease are going to be out of control, as they are, if we don't do something about it. But we're out of time, and if people want to find you on the Internet, how do they find you?
TheHerbProf.com.
TheHerbProf.com.
PROF.com. That's me, TheHerbProf.com.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. I want to thank you for taking the time and being up so late. I wish you well with what you're doing, and we hope you will be well.
I hope the same for you, Sharon. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure and a lot of fun. I enjoyed every bit of this.
Thank you. You be safe.
Thank you.
Be well.
You too, Sharon.
Bye.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, in Thailand, it sounds like they're having to buy water and from a source that has filtered water because it's not as safe as we might think. And around the world, as we're learning, that bottled water and the water to drink is having to be purchased in countries all over the world. Bonnie always, my secretary, does some search on the Internet for me. And today I found one, how a new source of water is helping reduce the conflict in the Middle East. The Middle East is going through no end of many years of problems with water. The other one is she found the desalination of water causing some health problems in Israel. And that makes sense to me, that desalination of the water would cause some problems worldwide, whoever's doing that. Then search on Facebook, I Care About Water. I want to thank you for listening. Embrace your life. Every moment, but somebody else's too. It's their special moment of breath. But don't forget, Earth is whispering. Don't say goodbye. Leave something of yourself behind for all those children in the world to know that you cared. I want to thank you for listening to the Power of Water radio talk show. We really have appreciated it for over 10 years. You have a nice day, and you be well.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week for another edition of the Sharon Kleyne Hour, Health, Environment, and the Power of Water. Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel, with an encore Wednesdays at 12 noon Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Remember to visit Sharon's website at SharonKleyneHour.com.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program, brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit VoiceAmericaVariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit VoiceAmerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guest.